it's our privilege to introduce Mohsen Abbasi. He's one of our senior physiotherapists in Qatar. I have the privilege of working with him since 2 years on a very friendly and professional way. And we started the talks with acute management of acute ankle sprains. Then we went to the podiatric assessments. Then we went all the way from the sports medical point of view now to the physiotherapy point of view. And I'm really looking forward to the more chronic approach on the rehabilitation of the more chronic ankle sprains.
Thank you, Dr. Peter. Welcome, everybody. So, of course, yes. So, yes, we'll talk about chronic ankle instability in point of view of physiotherapy and rehabilitation. I will see together the definition of chronic ankle instability, their alternative strategies, and we will go through the deficits found in chronic instability into 4 points, and one word after that for foot orthotics, and maybe if we have enough time, we see a few exercises. So first of all, chronic instability is a huge term and a big term used to describe athletes with repetitive ankle sprains, multiple episodes of giving away, diminished function, and some symptoms of pain. And we can find in this group of athletes mechanical ankle stability. Mechanical ankle stability, which is the true unstable ankle, in fact, with laxity found during testing and during imaging, confirmed by imaging, and you find the joint loose and floppy. This is the true unstable ankle. But we have also another group of functional ankle instability. These people, they have like fear or maybe sensation of insecurity when loading their ankles. They feel unstable, and this is maybe due to some chronic pain, like impingement or maybe osteochondral lesions, leading to that feelings. So these two groups, maybe they are separated each other and another, but also sometimes they are mixed in two in one. And it's better when you are treating an ankle sprain need to try to differentiate between the two groups, because the treatment may take different directions. So their strategy is the second point. They was found that they have decrease in vertical floor clearance during gait. That means maybe during walking in a regular surface, they may just touch the floor, touch the ground down. And this is very dangerous. More inverted position at heel strike and after. Delayed peroneus longus activity. And increased hip and knee flexion if they land from a high jump. And inappropriate weight acceptance during landing. And I mean by that, they cannot reach the closed back position when they reach the floor. And the closed reach position is quite close to maximal dorsiflexion. So the joint will be enough stable to land in a safe and appropriate way. But unfortunately, they cannot reach this position. That means they cannot reach that position in the good time of peak impact. And of course, we know the injury always happens just after the peak impact during landing. So as you can see, all these alterations in mechanics and in kinetics and kinematics may explain why these people may have trouble and recurrent injuries. So if you can look here, you can see how they can jump. They start by jumping from this way. This is pictures taken by a fast cam, and they start quite already so early by an inverted position, and they land more on the lateral border of their ankles, and they remain longer in the lateral border of their ankles. That means they pronate very late, which is dangerous for them. Here, when they land in both legs, they have fear to load the ankle, clear fear, and also you see that, that the good leg always goes first, touch the floor first. And you can see on the other side, more flexion of the knee and heels. Deficits found with this chronic ankle instability athletes or population, impaired neuromuscular control, impaired proprioception and postural sway, decreased strength, and decreased ROM, especially into dorsiflexion. These are the main point find. So, first point is the neuromuscular control, and when we talk about neuromuscular control, we talk also about dynamic stability. And that means how to maintain stable base while doing some tasks, or one task, how to maintain stability when doing some task without any unwanted giving away episode. And little is known about this neuromuscular mechanisms in chronic instability. It comes to where I am and what I am going to do. And normally these three systems should work fine with normal people. Unfortunately, in chronic instability, at least two of them are working better, at least. So we have here the paradigm of feedback mechanism, and we physiotherapists used to work with this paradigm long ago, for long years. It comes that this mechanism, when the ligament, the microreceptor in the ligament is detected a stretch during the beginning of the injury, it sends enough information to the central nervous system, which will activate the alpha motor neuron in the extraphyseal muscle, of course, stimulating the whole peroneus longus to contract and bring the foot back to its position. And this mechanism takes about 170 milliseconds to happen. That means it is too slow to prevent an ankle sprain. And for chronic instability, guys, is not only too slow, but it's also altered due to repetitive ankle sprains. Happily, we have here a full paradigm, very clear, which inside we can see here the feed-forward mechanism. And that means an activation of musculature around the ankle joint before stimulus onset. Stimulus onset is the landing, and that just to control the dynamic stability of the joint. It comes to the fact to have co-activation of muscles just prior to landing, like a preparation for weight acceptance. So it is a pre-activation of muscles early before landing. And also with these people, this mechanism is also altered, especially if there is changes in jump heights, or in distance of the surface, kind of the surface. Yeah. So we can understand now that open loop acts faster than closed loop, because we said in the first one here that it takes about 170 milliseconds to happen, while an ankle sprain sometimes takes more or less 20 milliseconds only. So it acts faster, but still we have fewer sources of information going to the central nervous system, mainly visual and vestibular. Yeah, visual and vestibular. Except this, the athletes will just rely on their previous experiences in landing. That means they will remember that before getting injuries, they were used to land in this way. And they will try to do the same. Yes, I can still land in this position, but sometimes it works, sometimes not. The other choice is to learn them something else new that helps them to control their body. That's why the refinement of open loop mechanism is really needed. Practice makes perfect. So the rehabilitation paradigm is aimed to improve both open and the closed loop is employed and advised. Now let's go to the second point for postural control. If you see here these exercises, I'm not against this one, but I'm not really a fan of it because I'm sorry, I cannot make the video work in here. Okay, yes, I think I can. So it's not working on the Mac. No problem, you know it. So I'm not fan of this exercise, but I'm not against it. Why? Because when playing handball, in fact, you don't play on a crazy bus like this one. You play on a normal surface, with a stable surface there. And this is more dynamic and more functional positioning to do this exercise. And also, of course, you can start your training by normal balance error scoring system. And you see the forms. Usually I don't use the forms, but I don't have other pictures. After that, the idea is to go straight to the star excursion, which is more functional, we said, yeah, with good reliability, and it can detect deficits with the chronic instability. Performance will be improved very quickly, and also it can be used during rehabilitation of the chronic instability guys. I'm so sorry that videos are not working on this Mac. Yeah. So next thing, or the third point, is the strength. In the strength, after initial ankle sprain, as Chris just said before, there is persistent of arthrogenic muscle inhibition of everter and inverter due to the swelling, edema, damage in the joint, damage of the proprioceptor, of the ligaments, damage of the muscle and tendons and nerves. Everything can lead to persistent arthrogenic muscle inhibition of everter and inverter. And why inverter as well? Because they usually pull into the direction of pain. They will be inhibited because of the pain. And aggressive rehabilitation sometimes fails to restore the full strength, and we will have persistent muscle weakness, represented by residual dysfunction, decreased stretch reflex, incomplete muscle activation recovery, and affected neuromuscular pattern. So, possibly recurrent instability. Last point, 4th point, is the decreased ROM. Is it lack of flexibility of the calf muscles? Yes, maybe. And lack of strength of the dorsiflexor? Also yes. But also it may be also arthrokinematic restrictions. It was found that larger navicular medial malleolus distance was found with people with recurrent ankle sprains. And it was suggested that the medial aspect of the tala is shifted anteriorly, limiting the dorsiflexion, limiting the gliding of the talus posteriorly close to the maximal dorsiflexion. So same thing, they cannot reach the closed peg position for a safe landing, resulting in more ankle sprains, lateral sprains. And of course, we know that ankle sprains now, it happens in dorsiflexion due to some 3D analysis done. Just one word on foot orthotics. It's good in rehabilitation and it's good in prevention. In rehabilitation, they are effective in improving the reach distance in the star excursion. They improve the CATE score, Cumberland score, and they may be used also during rehabilitation to improve these people and their outcomes. In prevention, they reduce the risk of injury, and the brace is more indicated due to it's more practical and less expensive than tapes, but we give the choice to the player. We cannot force him to use any one of them. I will say thank you, because the videos are not working here, but if it's still time and the guy can change, we can see some exercise on how to improve foot position sense with this population. Thank you.
Any questions from the floor?
Congratulations, Mohsen, my colleague, for the presentation.
Thank you, Jose.
I'm going to do this question that I always do to you every day in the department. And we know how important is the muscle strengthening balance all over the body, in the shoulders, in the knee, and we have plenty of tools to measure that. How do you normally in your daily practice measure lack of strengthening or lack of motor response in the ankle?
Yeah, in point of view strength, of course, to measure the strength is a little bit deal, but better when you strengthen your player, it's better to train in a functional way and avoid the assessment with dynamometers and so on. And that's said Dr. Chris a little bit before. the strength is not the main issue. The main issue is to have stability and to have a good, proper functional way. But some people, they still use biodex at least to have an idea how much peak torque you have on there, and yeah. Is it clear?
Yeah, it's okay.